Is that the kind of hard-fought game you expect out of the ACC opener?
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, I'm proud of this team. I'm proud that we were able to grind through it. In the first half, we were struggling a little bit to find our group, but I'm glad that we worked together as a team and we were able to persevere and get that win in the end.
How tired are you right now?
I'm pretty tired, but honestly, at the end of the day, it's a mental game. You have to push through always, and you push through for your team. You have to find your yes inside and just keep going, and glad that we pushed through all the way to the end.
Is this the most physical game you guys have played this season?
I would say definitely the most physical game just because of how much pressure and how much is at stake, especially as the first ACC game. And as we push forward, I just think it was definitely one of the hardest ones, but we continue to improve, we continue to get better.
Can you talk about the play where you came down and made this save and then you got tripped up?
Yeah.
Tell me about that play.
Honestly, I was I saw as the girl was dribbling in the midfield that she was going to play out wide, and I was like, okay, I got to go track. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's you versus the ball. It's 1v1. You have to get there at the end of the day to stop that goal. And honestly, I'm glad I got there. I knew I was going to get there, just making sure that I could get my foot on it, get a touch on it, and then at the end of the day, she fouled me, but you got to move through. You have to move through the game. So.
Great teams don't always play great, but in a tough ACC opener, great teams are able to find a way, maybe win a little bit ugly in a sense. What does it say about you guys as a group that in this opener, a young team, down some players, we're able to find a way?
I think honestly, right off the bat, we have a great team chemistry. We're able to work off each other. We're able to play for each other, and I think that just pushed us through even the hard times in this game that came through. And honestly, just working together and having that chemistry is what pushed us through, and having those teammates to have your back all the way through the game.
What about you being a freshman, part of a center back tandem, both freshmen, holding the back line, seeing out games in the past for UNC has been an issue. Y'all were able to get that 1-0 lead today and then see it out to the end. How were y'all able to do that?
I think honestly, even though we don't have the college experience, we just work well together. We have that ability to work together, to communicate. It all comes down to communication, how you read the game and how you anticipate the game. So even though we're young, I feel like we have the IQ, we have the ability to work together and to work hard so we can stay connected as a backline, but also connect our midfield and our forwards together so that we're able to stay compact and win the game.
How about the endurance? I think you were one of the ones who played all 90 minutes. Is that hard?
Honestly, once I get into the game, I'm locked. I'm thinking about myself, I'm thinking about the players, I'm thinking about what problem solving we have to do. So honestly, yes, it does get tiring, especially after you get knocks after knocks and fouls after fouls, but that's just part of the game. That's part of what we have to do and part of what we love to do. So you just have to keep pushing through that, and at the end of the day, I'm just glad that we got the win, no matter if I played 90, if I played 10 minutes. I think it's just great that we had a team effort and we were able to push through.
You mentioned in the first half y'all struggled a little bit. Was there any sort of tactical change from Damon and the staff at halftime that allowed y'all, after you got that 1-goal lead, to see the game out in the final 45?
So throughout the first half, we started as a 3-back and we went to the 4. So I think it was just better tactically so we can get our wing backs forward and that we were able to combine a little bit better to find outlets. And then when we went into half, we just knew that a 4-back was going to be best, and so we stuck with it, and then we stuck with the plan and we just pushed through.
Thanks.
Anything else? Great.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And today, some of them, we talked about we can believe in them, their teammates can believe in them, their family can believe in them, but if they got to believe in themselves, that's the most important thing. And today we had a few players grow up, and you could see they believed in themselves. So what a great win. We'll take it. One game, recover, head over to Pittsburgh next week.
How do you deal with a physical game like that where they're letting things go? And I know both coaches were frustrated by that. I mean, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, that's part of the relationship between coach and referee, right? They're always wrong, we're always right. Isn't that the way it is? Look, part of it, you want them to let things go a little bit and respect it, but then there are times where all you really want is a little bit of consistency. So there were some times where you thought this should have been called, other times not, but that's just the game. For me, it's the thing that I'm proud of. Our girls manage their emotions better than I did in the moment. So I got the yellow card, which is fine. But look, in the end, that's naturally how it's going to be. Emotions are high, it's a competitive game, respect both ways, and that won't be the last time that we're not going to get calls or vice versa.
When's the last time you remember, you've been at the program a long time, 3 shots and get a win?
I don't know. I don't really care. For me, this is what we talked about. You can see how the game was going, and I could tell by the demeanor of the players in the beginning, they're a little bit tentative. You have 4. If you look at the first 4 players announced in the starting lineup were freshmen, and you sit there and you're like, And you could tell it was their first ACC game. And it took them about 30 minutes to kind of find their way. And as the game went on, even until the last 15 minutes, you could see they were fatigued in the last 15 minutes. And that's when you got to find the momentum. But honestly, we talked about it at halftime. Like, it wasn't about changing things to change the course of the game. It was really about us being disciplined as one and finding a way to win. Today was about finding a way to win, and they did that. It's going to serve us well.
You spoke about players growing up today. It seemed like Trinity and Avon, being in the back line, stood out and were able to save the game on a couple occasions, especially in that first half when Wade kind of broke y'all down. Can you talk about them being two center backs starting as freshmen and what they mean to the team, especially in a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, Bella, if you're talking about the freshmen, Bella and Trin and Avon, they were phenomenal. I mean, you can just see it. You can see a confidence. You can see their lack of hesitation, where in the last few games, a couple of them, you can tell a little bit hesitant. You couldn't be hesitant today. And they were. I mean, and you can go across the board. Even some, every single player here found their way to impact the game. And, from McKenna to Ashley coming in and doing the work there, you could just tell she's fighting for the team. It wasn't perfect every time. I would like certain things to be better, but today wasn't about that. So, yeah, all those young players grew up today.
Is it a difference in coaching philosophy or the lack of depth that not as many players are playing this year? I mean, last year there were like 8 players coming in at a time, and you played 2 subs today.
In the end, you got to make decisions, right? And we're a bit banged up. We have about 3 or 4 players that are not available necessarily. When they come back, that changes everything. And all of a sudden, so right now you got to grind through it. In certain games, we'll be on the front foot, and in this game, we were having to be disciplined and be patient and defend as a unit, and we did that. So, the reality is that some of those players will get opportunities, but we have some decisions to make, and some of them we felt like that was the best thing for this game. And some of the players that didn't play today, their number's going to be called. They'll be ready to go. So it's all about making decisions and the players trusting you and being ready when their name's called. And we know that's going to be the case moving forward for us.
In years past, it's maybe been a little bit of a challenge for y'all seeing out games. Mm-hmm. Tonight, after you get the goal in the first half, maybe against the run of play, in the second half, how are y'all able to tactically and mentally see out the last 45 to get the win?
Yeah, look, you have some veterans on the field. I think if you go back to the first game of the season with Denver, that was a great example, right? We're up a goal, tied it, 2-1 we're up, and then we had to find a way to grind that game out with a young team, and we did that. That was on that field against Denver. We made it a point to make sure everyone that played any minutes against BYU last year was on that field to ride that game out. And it was a real interesting test to see, and they did. And then the same thing happened in Colorado, and you can continue on and on. So, look, that's really, really important. I think you don't over-talk it. I think you just have them understand that we're going to be prepared to do your job. Don't take a second off. And, today was a great example of that, so I'm really proud of it.
So there's nothing necessarily that you change. It's more of a, reinforcement of y'all's principles and just to stay focused?
Yeah, just know, how bad do you want to win? Do your job. Pick and choose your moments. Just if your job's to be able to go press that ball, then go press that ball. If your job's to drop, then drop. Just always over-communicate. It's just kind of like that will to win. There's no guarantee. This is a funny game, right? Anything can happen. But we've been tested in every respect this year, from before we even started. And I give credit to all these girls. There's no. I don't know how many teams would be able to handle how they handled this entire season, and who knows? You can't predict what's going to happen in the future, but I'll gamble on these girls.
How's Olivia progressing?
Slowly.
So still another week or two?
Yeah, time will tell. We're going to make sure she's back when she's ready to go. We don't see that happening in the next 2 weeks. Right now, it's not just about her being cleared; it's about being fit. So with that type of injury, if you come back too early, you're going to strain it again, and we just want to try and get her back by 100% by October. That's our goal.
Sure.
Same progression. So right now that's why we're waiting for some players to kind of get themselves back, and it's not going to be at their expense. We're not going to get anybody back to risk their injury. That's why players have to step up, and if they're asked to play 90, they'll play 90. If someone hasn't played a minute today and is going to play 30 in the next game, we'll be prepared for that. So time will tell. Don't really know the timeline now, but it's not anytime soon.
Anything else?
Has it surprised you at all how well this young team has handled everything that's been thrown at them from day one this season?
I wouldn't say surprised, right? You don't really know until you really get into it. The girls have been very coachable. They've had great attitudes. You can see their unity and their closeness together, and that doesn't always occur. And so, yeah, look, we want to enjoy the wins, the little wins. We want to enjoy these victories. We should, and they should enjoy this together. But we don't want to get too far ahead of us. We are literally one day at a time. Look, we're in a situation where we have, today, the starting group today, there was not one player that started last year on that field to start this game. Brand new team starting. Those were reserves that started today that played little minutes last year. So think about that. And now in the first ACC game, home, what do I say? I just can continue to add layers, and hopefully they're going to continue to buy into it. And I feel really fortunate to be with this group.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
Awesome. Also, period of the game, because that's hard, especially in an intense physical conference matchup. How did y'all get through that to score the goal against the run of play and then carry that momentum?
I think just staying composed. I think it was getting hectic in there, and we just kind of were all talking on the field, just connect that first pass, play out of it. And I think we really capitalized on an opportunity. There wasn't much going either way for opportunities on net, but we capitalized on the one that we got. So I think it was just a team effort, and just staying calm in the chaos.
Can you take us through the goal? Nice long diagonal pass to you, and tell me how that turned out.
Kind of blanked, but no, McKenna, that's her ball. I saw her pick her head up, and I knew she was going to play it. And that's the run that we've been having me make, is the back post run. But yeah, I just saw her playing the ball. She had range and time. She played it. A little off touch to the side, but I saw the keeper was coming out and just slipped it to the far post.
You got to bubble it a little bit, and that made her come out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, it was hard because I saw two players coming at me that I had to go through them, but I just saw her come out, so I was like, back post, back post.
Coach was talking about how well y'all have handled all of the adversity this season, not having players, and just everything that's gone on throughout the season so far. What does that say about this young group? A group that he pointed out, the 11 starters on this field tonight did not start last year. So it's an entirely new team.
Yeah. We just have a bunch of leadership on this team. I think everyone's an individual leader in their own way. Whether that's freshman, sophomore, junior, like everyone's a leader, everyone's listening, as we've kind of talked about. Like everyone takes what everyone says and applies it on the game. No one's back-talking each other. It's been a bumpy road for us. It's not easy in a build-up year, but we've taken it by the reins and we've done the best we can, and I think people can see that. We take every game as a new opportunity to prove ourselves, and we're going to keep working for it.
As one of those leaders, what have you seen from the freshmen who have come in and made a real impact on the team? Trinity, Avon, Bella at the back tonight playing a huge role in seeing that one out.
Yeah. I give 100% credit to them. Like, it's hard to come in. I know, like, Bella Gattino, she's not a center back. She's a forward who's being converted for us right now, and she's grinding every day in and day out for us. And she put on a performance tonight. Same with Avon, same with Trin. They're showing up and showing out for us, and that is a big part. Because I think sometimes when we fall back to look at players like that who are giving 100% in something they're not comfortable with, and as a freshman, gives you that extra push to be like, I gotta go. Like, you know?
How hard was it to deal with the physicality? I mean, this is pretty physical.
Yeah, it was a pretty physical game, I will say. It got dirty at some points, but staying calm, I really think, is what we need to do. I know, like, sometimes we'll get amped up, and that's hard to stay calm in those situations, but I also think having, like, for people that are getting amped up, to just calm them and remind them that it's better to just take it and walk away and just use it as motivation to keep going.
Y'all in the past couple of seasons have had trouble seeing out games, getting leads, and then losing them. Tonight, not the case against a really good Wake Forest team. Was there anything different? How were y'all able to see out the victory?
I think this team is just not letting down. There's not a moment that goes by that I think this team stops giving 100%. I think that we take every half as a new game, and I think we truly do that. We want to win each half, every second of it. Even if it was tied, I think this team would pull through with a win because everyone's giving everything they have. Defensively and attackingly, everyone's doing the little things right. One goes, we all go is kind of our motto right now, and I really think we're seeing that through.
You spoke about Bella being converted from a forward to a defender. What is the challenge of that? Like, what has that been like for you guys to watch her assume that role that she's not used to?
Yeah. It's actually pretty cool to get to see her grinding day. Like, she grinds every single day. She's practicing new things that we want her be able to apply to the game. It really hasn't been a shift though. Like, she doesn't look like she is being converted at all for us. She looks like she's a strong, fast competitor back there, and I think teams are going to fear her.
Great.
Thank you, Kate.
Of course, thank you guys.